afternoon, doctors. Today I'll be talking about sperm function test and different methods to analyze DFI. So what is this DFI? DNA fragmentation index. So how much fragmentation is present in the DNA is what is means there are different methods to analyze that. So that we're going to read today. Yeah, so the basic function of sperm is to deliver DNA into the oocyte, and there should be an intact chromatin which helps in the viable pregnancy. So basically what it means is you can see over here histones, and the DNA is coiled by toroid. There's something called toroid. So in that protamines are present more in DNA. So you know this is all basic. So in histones, protamines and histones are present. The percentage of protamine will be more, okay, because it helps in the coiling of the DNA. Okay, the very minute, like it has to be very intact, right? So that is the reason we have protamines over here. We say chromatin test. So we see whether protamines is more or histones. If the histones are more, then there is a fragmentation there. There's a breakage in the DNA. That's what we mean here. Okay. So next, what is the role of DNA fragmentation? If there is a damage, it's definitely related to poor semen quality. Okay, if any infection is there or any high levels of ROS. So these antioxidants are present in our body, and then antioxidant is required for DNA. But the percentage of antioxidant like ROS is increased. Matlab there is a DNA damage. Okay. Now, because of leukocytospermia, we say like this pus cells, all these will definitely release ROS. The percentage of ROS will increase, so the fragmentation will also increase. And then it is obviously correlated to poor semen parameters. And next, when that is in, what happens if the DNA fragmentation is more, fertilization failure can be there, or embryo quality will decrease. What is embryo quality decreasing here is percentage of fragmentation in the embryo will be more. Like we say 10%, 15%, 25%. So that's when we say the quality of the embryo will also decrease as there is a fragmentation. The delivery of the DNA is not intact, correct? The breakage is there in the strands. So that is the reason we say the quality of the embryo decreases. And then development. Sometimes when we do in vitro, we know the embryo is developing. This is an 8-cell, 5-cell, 6-cell, right? So, but what happens in vivo, we will not know. Now, the natural conception is not happening. There's a miscarriage or abortion rate has increased. The patient has having abortion. So what happened here? So that could be one of the reasons. Now one couple is coming to you, right? So that is their third cycle or fourth cycle, but particular test is not done. Everything else is done. So you should know what is the routine and non-routine test here. Okay, so DFI everyone will not do, but if your patient is having miscarriages and multiple abortions and increased age, so those could be the reason for their abortion, multiple abortions. So you have to make sure that you do all these tests. Okay, and then blastocyst achievements, embryos, it will go to 8-cell, but when you keep it for culture, every 10 embryos will not go to blastocyst. That I can tell you. If it can be aneuploidy, it can be any reason, sperm factor or oocyte repair factor. So all this could be the reason. Okay. Next, what is this ROS, reactive oxygen species? Please concentrate on the PPT properly. The MCQs are based on it, and I'm sure you have to pay attention to this. Okay, so it has been recognized that impaired sperm function is frequently correlated to oxidative stress. As I said, there's excess reactive oxygen species. So that is the reason if there is more oxidative stress, that could impair the sperm function. Okay, human spermatozoa are executively sensitive to damage by ROS as result of limited antioxidant defense. As I said, antioxidants are really important here. That's why you tell patients also, right? When there is high DNA fragmentation, I think you do recommend antioxidants and to the patient. So this is that in humans, ejaculate ROS are produced by both spermatozoa and leukocytes. So that is produced by both. And the low levels of ROS are necessary for sperm capacitation. So there are different processes here. I hope you all know sperm capacitation, acrosome reaction, hyperactivation. All these are required for sperm to enter oocyte, correct? So then when the ROS level is less, that's when it can capacitate. And then again, if there is a high levels of peroxidation, that is ROS, that is a decreased motility, impaired DNA integrity, and impaired spontaneous pregnancy rates. That is all correlated now. If your ROS is more, then there is obviously there will be impaired DNA integrity will be impaired, and then spontaneous pregnancy rate and fertilization potential, both in vivo and in vitro, will reduce drastically. And ROS-induced DNA damage will accelerate the process of germ cell apoptosis, leading to lower sperm count. Even the count will reduce. If there is more ROS, obviously that sperm process, germline process will not take spermatogenesis. And then again, the count will reduce. So when you see one report, you should make sure that what and all you have to incorporate in that patient. When you see a file history is very important now. If you don't know whether they've had multiple cycles outside, then if they have multiple abortions, then how will you treat them here? Right now, if someone comes and tell you, have you done DFI, the test, you will ask why. Correct. Then you will check the history. Then you will go through, okay, this is multiple failures are there, abortion is there. And if they would have done 3-4 FET also in other hospitals, they'll not care for doing DFI, right? Then you should think in that way, okay, that could be the reason. And he'll be put on antioxidants, antibodies, I mean, any tablets or anything, then it can be checked. Again, DFI has to be checked. It should be less than 15%. Okay. Next, to assess the oxidative stress to spermatozoa, there's something called chemiluminescent assay. Okay, to check the oxidative stress. This test has been done to check the oxidative. This is not regularly, but DFI is also done. SCA. I'll come to that. Next, there are two tests like routine and non-routine. Routine mein there is semen analysis, make what and all comes, volume, color, that macroscopic and microscopic analysis that we do every time, right? Next, non-functional test, the sperm functional actual test, what used to be done. So hypoosmotic swelling will anyway do it in the lab, right? But sperm zona penetration, hemizona, sperm cervical mucus, these are all like conventional method. Okay, this is not used anymore now, but we will just give a brief introduction to this. And then anti-sperm antibody, this we do if we can see any anti-sperms are there, if your clumping and all is there. Okay, you know the difference between aggregation and agglutination, right? Everyone knows? Okay. Anyone on the offline people, anyone knows what is aggregation and agglutination? I think all of them are muted. I'll come to this question later, probably. So next is acrosome reaction test, biochemical test, CASA, and reactive oxygen assessment, DNA fragmentation assessment, and chromatin structure assessment. So these are like ongoing methods. There are different called COMET method, tunnel. These are many different technology. Flow cytometer is used here, chemiluminescent. So this is technology has increased to check the functional test now. Okay. Next comes what happens now, the lesson associated with sperm DNA fragmentation. So we know there could be a breakage in this link, right? There could be a damage over here in single strand or double strand. So that is the reason the fragmentation increases in the sperm, correct? That's why we say there is a high DFI. DNA fragmentation index is more. Okay. Next comes, what is the reason for this sperm DNA fragmentation? It could be n number of reasons now. As we know, even we don't know what, when we are breathing, there could be chemicals you are breathing. It's completely the pollution, the radiation, the high temperature, and then drugs, smoking, anything could be the reason for the high DFI. So it influences both. Even female oocyte, there are studies which said oocyte quality might reduce because if they are in some radiation or in some polluted area, the health, lifestyle, there's all, influences. Then obesity, aging. So all these are the reason now. That's why now female will go under oocyte freezing, the unmarried, or if they don't have any plans of having kids. That is the reason now technology is increased now, right? And then next comes, what is the mechanism of sperm DNA fragmentation? One is protermination failure. So there are protamines, I said, right? So replacement of histone to protamines during spermiogenesis. So what happens when the DNA has to be bound very tightly, intact? That's when the protamines come in play. There are two types of protamine. One is P1 and P2. Okay. P2 is deficient in cysteine. Okay. So what happens here, if that is reduced, if P2 level, then there could be a fragmentation because it is not able to bind intact the DNA. So that is the reason. And next is oxidative stress. Oxidative stress, while from rete testis to epididymis, when it is like going through the channel, that time it can get damaged because of the stress or anything. Then post ejaculation, if there is leukocyte, immature sperm cell, abnormal level of seminal plasma, antioxidants, apoptosis, and any abnormality during sperm maturation in testis or epididymis. So all these could affect. So when we see only in the higher level, okay, this patient is not conceiving, there could be some other reason. But we have to dig into the main reasons of patient. What is his occupation? Where is he working? What is his lifestyle? Is he drinking, smoking? What's his age? So many factors come into play when such things happen. Okay. And we always concentrate on giving pregnancy, right? That is our ultimate goal. So what we have to see, we have to check every parameters here. And then ART outcome. So in this meta-analysis, the increased miscarriage in couple undergoing IVF or ICSI with high sperm DNA damage. So there are studies which we do, which says, now I have 4 patients and then I will go, one patient I'll do max, another PISA I'll do, and another. There are studies which says that percentage of DNA damage will be less in PISA because you're directly taking out from epididymis, correct? And then next study says max. So it's all like so much is there. In max, what happens? What happens in max? Anyone knows? Like any clue about max? So basically in max, what happens? Sperm undergo apoptosis basically. Okay, there is on upper layer of the sperm, there's something called phosphatidylserine. When sperm undergo, it will be inside the sperm in a layer. But when sperm undergo apoptosis, that layer comes outside. Okay, the outside of the sperm plasma membrane. So that gets attached to something called annexin bead. Okay, I'm just explaining max here. So annexin bead, that bead will be there. It's like a iron bead. So that gets attached. So dead sperms will get attached to the bead. Matlab the sperms which have undergone apoptosis. Now, if I'm just doing DG method and I don't know whether the sperm is dead, has apoptosis on. So the certain patient should undergo max then. Like if they have like more BFI, like 20%, 25%, then we would be like, okay, let them go for max. If the BFI is more like 35%, 40%, then we go for PISA. Okay, so that's how you should differentiate which method first to be on. A magnetic cell assorted that is another chapter I'll explain. Okay, so max is something which is like you're sorting out the sperm according to the beads. Magnetic one stand will be there. Using magnetic power, you will be sorting out the sperms. Okay, next, coming to this. Next, in this patient, oocyte repair capability and severity of damage. So oocyte has its own repair mechanism. Okay, mitochondria, everything plays into a picture. So repair like occur at pronuclear stage, that is before the syngamy. Low levels break can be repaired, especially single stand break. Okay, and repair ability decreases with female age. As the age increases, this repairing disability will happen in oocyte. So that's why they say, no, if the husband is more age, there's some concept like that, right? But actual here is, see, you can only read this: repair capability decreases with female age, because it's not able to repair if any abnormality is there in the sperm. So low levels breakage can be repaired in the oocyte only. That's when we don't get more fragmentation. If husband's sperm is less, then there will be fragmentation will be less, or cleavage will be proper. There's no abnormal cleavage. So those things can be avoided. Next, DFI. The clinical threshold in DFI is of 30%. Okay, so we have to see here which DFI method can be opted. There are different methods which I will be explaining. Next, hypoosmotic swelling test. This is one of the functional tests. Okay, here what we do, we use something called osmosis. Okay, water permeability is a fundamental biophysical property of living cells. So what happens here, we add sperm into a solution where it swells up and the tail curls. I'll just show you a picture. So it's just checking the integrity of the cell plasma membrane. Okay. If the plasma membrane is intact, it will swell up. And the tail will curl because of the pressure. So this is how it will look. So the basic principle here is intact cell membrane. So if the sperm is viable, it will swell up, okay, and curling of the tail. If there is non-viable, there is no change in that. So you can see over here, this has curled up. Is it viable or non-viable? Viable. And this one is non-swollen. It's just straight tail. Matlab, there is a breach in the plasma membrane and it is dead. Okay. And these sperms can be used for ICSI, these swollen sperms, because they are alive, viable. This can be used for diagnostic and therapeutic purpose as well. What is the advantage here? We are not using any stain, so it can be used for ICSI. Horse sperms, which can be there, that can be used for ICSI. Spermatozoa with intact members swell within 5 minutes by hypoosmotic media, and all flagella. We can use normal mobs or any fructose media will come. You get horse media only in the product available, so you can use that as well. Because the hypoosmotic media does not kill viable cells, they can be used for ICSI. Okay, next comes all this conventional method. We will not dig deep into this. We'll just read about this. And what here is Zona's penetration here. There's the ability to fuse with and penetrate the egg membrane. There's a demonstration. Basically, they're going to take the zona and see whether sperm can penetrate into it with the acrosome reaction. That's all. Okay. Here in sperm penetration method evaluates sperm function capacity by examining sperm competence in the biological process. Okay. Whether it can fertilize, capacitation, acrosome reaction, spontaneous recognition of, and perivitellin space, endpoint of chromatin decondensation. These are all in vitro methods. So what is happening in this conventional method, they're just checking whether the sperm can enter. There's a capacitation. What happens in capacitation, sperm is really, they go very fast, like they're very spontaneous, hyperactivated sperm, and they go attached to the zona. Okay. And next, in the patient with oligozoospermia and severe teratosis, I hope you know these terms which I'm using. Okay, teratozoospermic men have a higher number of defective sperm zona interaction, because obviously in oligo the count will be less, right? And there could be any mutation that it is not able to go and have a proper acrosome reaction, okay, which may account for the low fertilization potential or fertility potential and results in spontaneous or IVF pregnancy. So SPA has been used to classify men likely to be fertile or infertile to predict the success rate of ART. This is how they keep, you can see how sperms, they'll keep a zona, okay, like any hamster or any guinea pig or any zona, and then they will see whether it can penetrate inside or not, okay. But this is very old method, they don't do it now. Okay, we don't perform all this. So if sperm penetration result in less, then the patient can go for ICSI. Okay, they check whether what is this, why there's fertilization failure or anything. They have this two method, control and other patient. Then they will see how it is. Otherwise, they don't use it. Now they don't approve, right? Where will get zona and all that. They need approval. And hemizona binding assay. Binding of the spermatozoa to zona pellucida triggers the acrosome reaction. We all know this, obviously. When the sperm get attached to the outside, there will be a reaction. So while evaluating an aspect of fertilization process is unable to test zona binding, since the assay are performed on hamster oocyte, not on humans. Okay, so this method we don't perform. Basically what happens, they cut the zona into two half, and then the control is donor sperm. Okay, and then next comes is they'll check patient whether it can penetrate. So that's why this method is not used anymore. There's something called competitive zona binding. Here different fluorochromes are used, and they will check which sperm is fragmented or not, like they can bind or not, sorry. So can you see this green and red? So it is incubated with the sperm sample and counted under fluorescent method. So this is also again conventional method. We will not be using it anywhere. Then postcoital test and cervical mucus test is also done in some centers. We usually don't perform this postcoital test. And after outcome of affecting outcome of cervical mucus test include in male factors, swimming pattern of the sperm. What do they see in the cervical mucus test? Initial sperm motility, concentration, morphology, and there is any presence of anti-sperm antibody. Okay. And next comes female factors affecting sperm migration, the stage of menstrual cycle, hormonal state, cervical infection, if there is any inflammation in the cervix, and female anti-sperm antibody. Okay, this is the test we usually do. Again, this is conventional. Nobody performs this test in most of the centers. And then the advantage here is where is it recommended? Hyperviscous sample, okay, unexplained infertility, low semen volume with normal sperm count. Okay. Next, what is this anti-sperm antibody? We have two here, aggregation and agglutination. If we see any agglutination in the sperm, that's when we do this test. What is aggregation here?
Aggregation is sperm get attached to non-sperm cells,
Correct.
like epithelial cells.
Correct. So aggregation, it is attaching to the non-sperm cells, like any pus cells. But agglutination means?
Sperm get clumped with each other.
Yeah, head to head, tail to tail. So they are attaching. So there are some antibody on that, on the sperm, right? Anti-sperm antibody. So we do certain tests here. So how does this happen basically? The tight Sertoli cell junction provides the blood test barrier. If there is a breach over there, then these anti-sperm antibody come into picture. So in certain conditions like testicular torsion, vasectomy, and testicular trauma, this unique barrier can be violated and resulting in immune response to sperm, okay, and displayed as anti-sperm antibody. Next, these antibodies affect fertility by blocking spermatozoa penetration into the cervical mucus or by preventing sperm binding and penetration of zona pellucida. They clump themselves over there, right? Then how will it go and fertilize? So that is also the reason. So approximately 10% of infertile men will have anti-sperm antibody. That's why when we do count and motility, we have to make sure if there is any clump, report it. Okay. And excessive sperm agglutination or normal PCT can suggest the presence of ASA. That's why we have to check the count properly. Rather than going to PCT, we do count motility proper. If there is any agglutination, we check that. So sperm antibody can be determined in two methods, direct and indirect method. This also not performed in many centers. It's not required. But if they are, there are kits available. There is something called MAR test, missed anti-globulin reaction, and immunobed. The MAR test is performed on a fresh semen sample while IB is on washed sample. So there are two different samples, right? Raw sample and then washed. Washed means you'll be washing it with the sperm wash. Just removing the excess of seminal plasma over there. It is washed sample. The beads adhere to the motile and immotile spermatozoa that have surface bound antibodies, and the percentage of motile spermatozoa will bound beads is recorded. How many beads? There are something called beads, polyacromide beads, which will be attached in the, it will be there in the media. So these sperms which have got anti-sperm, I mean like antibodies, it will go attached, adhere to the sperms. Getting the point, the beads adhere to motile or immotile spermatozoa which has antibody on it. Like this, there are antibodies present here. These beads will go attached. Can you see these beads? It's a simple concept here. Okay, then in that there are IgG and IgA MAR test performed by mixing fresh untreated semen sample with these beads. Okay, then there are other called treated red blood cells coated with human IgG. You get all these IgG, IgA medias. And then formation of mixed agglutinates between particle and motile sperm indicates the presence of IgG, IgA antibody on the spermatozoa. So this is how the clump will look like if it has anti-sperm antibody. Next, immunobed test, direct immunobead test. Beads cut. So I said no, there are beads for wash samples we'll be using, and there is something called polyacrylonide bead. So that will again attach to on the sperms. In indirect method, there is something called test for anti-sperm antibodies, sperm free fluid, seminal plasma, blood serum. This is also not performed much anywhere. There's only two methods they do, MAR or IV bead test. Then antibody-free donor spermatozoa take up anti-sperm antibody present in tested fluid and are assessed in the direct immunobead test. I couldn't find much information on indirect method because there's no much info, but this is all I could find. And then what happens if there is a DNA damage? As all you know, that will affect pregnancy rate and fertilization rate, and there should be abnormal embryonic development. Okay, so then coming to different methods to analyze DFI. So as I said, COMET assay, tunnel assay, in situ nick translation, acridin orange test, sperm chromatin assay, STF, all these are there. So here in this acridine orange, there are different fluorochromes you get. This is also a method which we usually don't. Some researchers, if they're undergoing some process, then only you do. In the hospitals and all we do. If we have flow cytometer, then we can undergo tunnel or COMET assay. Okay, acridine orange assay works on simple principle that sperm DNA is subjected to acid denaturation to bind to the stain. Okay, the AO bound to intact DNA is visualized under green and damaged under red. If the damaged sperms are there, it will be in the red. So metachromatic shift in the fluorescence is analyzed either by flow cytometry or microscope. This image is under flow cytometry. Next is SCD. This is the most used method in the lab. Okay, we use this method. You can see this hollow. Okay, these sperms are hollow. I think we will show you a demonstration also. There will be a demonstration class on DFI, how it is, and you get to count all that. We will have a practical class on that probably. Okay, so you can see forming a halo around lysed and acid treated nuclear sperm reflects the chromatin structure. So big halo, medium halo, and then small, and this is the degraded ones. Okay, so we count how many big halos are present. That is the percentage of DNA. Okay. Next is SC-assay method. Sperm chromatin structure assay. Here again, we see the orange acridine. You can see this, right? Orange and green. We see how many red are present. That is the percentage. Even this method is not used. We need flow cytometry for this. Next, COMET assay. Then in this gel electrophoresis is used. Again, these are all very costly methods. We know patient, obviously, if there is so much problem, there's something is wrong, then they go to this high-end methods. Otherwise, they don't. They only do other methods. So single cell gel electrophoresis to evaluate DNA integrity, including single and double stranded. Here they get to know whether there's a break of single stranded or double stranded break in COMET assay. Okay, depending on amount of DNA damage created, small tail or bigger tail. So tail means ye wala. If there is big DNA fragmentation, the tail will be long. Otherwise, the small. Okay, and how will you reduce the fragmentation here? Antioxidant and lifestyle changes, right? Abstinence period. So in DFI, when we give it to patient, it is only less DFI. I mean, less abstinence we keep it, like 2 days or 1 day, like that. Because less abstinence is there, then there is no much oxidative stress and there is no damage much. So like that we see. Then treatment of underlying varicocele or surgery, considering PISA or PISA. Max can be used here. Okay, and there is something called terminal deoxynucleotidal transferase, DUTP, NIC and labeling, and these terms are relatively important. Okay, enzymatic addition of modified nucleotides to DNA breakage. You can see this has much breakage here, and this is not. So that's when they say you can see these breakage will shown in red color. That's all in this test. Is a method of detecting DNA fragmentation. These are just the different methods I'm explaining. That's all. Okay. And then these test system assess sperm DNA condensation, and different methods like stain methods are used over here. Okay. And what is the key message? Several methods available to assess SDF, and method differentially assess SDF and cannot determine nature and etiology of damage. So now I know this patient has DNA fragmentation, but the sperm which I'm choosing for ICSI, I'm not sure what is the percentage of DNA breakage there, right? That we cannot do. Whether I use ICSI, IMSI, PICSI, anything. But we'll not know the depth of DNA damage in that particular. But overall, we can see in that patient what is happening. So DFI is relatively important test in our routine analysis. But if patient is coming first time, primary infertility, and there's no abortion, there's nothing. So usually we don't opt for this method. If the count is fine, motility is good, morphology is also good, then we don't go for DFI. Then we try one cycle, dekhte hain how the embryos are and how the everything is. First you do IUI, right? You'll see how it is. So it is the same way. If IUI is not conceived one time, two times, and then we'll see what is the reason. That is when we go for the second time. If the patient comes, then there are certain checks you have to do. But if you want to do it in first go only, it is good. There's no harm in it. Okay. Any doubts? This was a very brief topic because you should know what is the importance of this. Now patient will come to you saying that we had like missed abortions, right? That time you should not be thinking like what has to be done to this patient. So DFI is also an important test over here, right? And then if the patient is azoospermia now, right? And then you don't know what to, then obviously you will go for PISA. That's the best method, right? Obviously if the patient has azoospermia, PISA is what is opted for the patient, not, you cannot suggest them donor. You're getting the point. So there are different checks you have to make sure if the patient is undergoing IVF cycle. Any doubts? We use this halo method. This is the method we use. Chromatin dispersion test. So this will be under the CASA, also can be used here. Okay, in CASA we'll keep it for reading. So this is the basic test we are using in our center. Yes, doctor, you were asking something. To do DFI. So as I said, if the patient is primary infertility, if the patient has come to you first time, okay, and if you see all other parameters like count, motility, and morphology, if everything is normal, then usually we don't go for DFI. But the patient has missed abortions and they have come after so long, age is more. If the patient age is more, if they've come first time, but when I said age is also an important factor. Age is more, than get the DFI done to that patient. Like husband is 40, 38, like that. If patient is elder, then you can get the test done, DFI test.
So that is the only indication, or we go by sperm morphology or sperm count?
Yes, sperm count. See, now I'll give you a situation. Your patient is 44, okay, or 40. Okay. The patient has to undergo DFI or not? It's his primary fertility. He's coming first time. His count is normal, motility is normal, morphology is also normal, but he's 44 or 45. What will you do?
So this, in this case, we can do DFI because age is advanced.
Yeah, exactly. So when I say, you have to see this factor as well, and how many years of marriage, and what is their history, where is he working, does he have, if he's drinking, okay, now patient is 27, okay, but he is alcoholic and he's like chronic smoker, right? He every day one pura pack, and count is again, his oligo. What will you do then?
DFI because he is presuming a lot of oxidants.
Exactly. So you make sure you take a call on this matters now. Okay. When you take history of a patient, these are things, occupation, geographical method is all very important. That's why we see history. Correct?
Okay.
And I'll give one more example now. If their secondary infertility and count and motility, everything is fine, but they've had couple of missed abortion, right? Then
we need to evaluate the partner or husband also.
Correct. So DFI is important there. Correct?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other doubts? Cost, depending on the hospital, what roughly around 6,000, 6 to 7K will be the cost. Okay. So that is the price. No, you can with the same analysis sample, it can be done. Now I can, you get agarose gel basically. Okay, for this method, this particular method, you get agarose gel, and you will mix the sample with agarose. Okay, in a raw sample, and then that will be layered on the slide. Okay, and then you take out the agarose and you put few reagents, And then the denaturation, basically you're doing the alcohol, but multiple alcohol, like 100%, 90, 70, those kind of alcohol will be put, and then it is assessed under microscope. You can do under microscope as well, or CASA as well. CASA is also fine. So normal sample can also be used, raw sample. Now analysis ke liye diya hai, now the patient doesn't have to give the sample again to do DFI. With the same sample, your technician can do. Any other doubts? Tunnel method, flow cytometry will be around 15,000, 20,000, because they're using fluorescent fluorochromes, right? They're pretty costly. That's why people don't opt for this. If you're doing a study and all, then if someone is sponsoring, then tunnel method, Comet method. Because normally they go for SCV method. But it's pretty costly. Obviously fluorochromes are costly. Very less institutes are doing this testing in Bangalore. So you know the terms, right? Oligospermia. I remember last time I wasn't happy. Have you read?
Yes, ma'am.
Pakka? Where is Dr. Murli? Sorry. So everyone knows what is globosospermia now, no? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I hope you've understood. Any doubts are there, you can drop in. We'll move ahead with MCQs. MCQs are very easy. I hope if you have paid attention, you will get to know. And I think the answers are already there. Okay. Anyway, answers are there, but I should do something now probably. So what is, you can just refer these questions. You will get it for exam as well, because I've just put the answer over here. So these expand is very important, the expansion of the PPT. Okay, whatever I've added. In exam, we will ask you. So the question paper is leaked today.
Ma'am, we can't see question paper. It's only PPT.
No, you can only see the PPT. Can you see the screen? Okay, I will not be displaying this screen because there are answers here. I will read out. So I hope you will select now. Okay? Yeah. Expand HOST. First option is hyperosmotic swelling test, hyperosmosis swelling test, hyaluronic osmotic swelling test, hypoosmolytic swelling test.
Hypoosmotic swelling test.
Hypoosmotic swelling.
Everyone agrees?
Yes.
Hyperosmotic swelling test.
It is hypo.
Who's telling hyper? Please tell me the name. Doctor, it's hypoosmotic swelling test.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, doctor. Expand SCSA. Semen chromatin structure assay, sperm chromatin structure assay, sperm chromatin stain assay, none of the above.
B. Sperm
Huh?
chromatin.
Sperm chromatin
Assay.
structure assay. How many of you agree?
Sperm chromatin stain assays.
Okay. Who is this doctor? Are you sure? Were you there in my PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I don't think so. The answer is B, sperm chromatin structure assay. Now you'll have to explain me what is this sperm chromatin structure assay. Or we shall exit the class now. Doctor, I'm just kidding. You can read about this, okay? Next, what is the reference value for vitality test? This is very easy. 40, 68, 58 and 38.
58%.
Sure,
58%.
everyone?
Yes.
Not 68.
No, 58.
Can we use horse sperm to do ICSI?
Yes, we can.
Right?
Because it has intact plasma membrane survival sperm, so we can.
And what about eosin, nigrosin?
Eosin nigrosin is the dead sperms would be stained in eosin nigrosin because the plasma membrane is broken. So only the ones with a broken plasma membrane eosin will be able to stain. So those we cannot. Stained basically with that test sperms cannot be used for ICSI.
If I use, what happens?
I guess. Not sure.
We should not do that. That's unethical. Okay. Expand SPA, semen permeable assay, sperm penetration assay, spermatozoa penetration assessment, and sperm permeable assay.
Sperm penetration is.